Sleep apnea. Do you know someone who snores at night? Maybe even wakes up restless in the morning? In my home, I hear snoring all the time. I have even been told that I snore to the point where I wake up. Being a person who snores, I had to look into it and was diagnosed with sleep apnea. In 2018, I was diagnosed with sleep apnea. I had to get surgery, and now I use a CPAP machine to control my sleep apnea. I had to get my tonsils and my adenoids removed. And I want you to understand the importance of this disorder so you can live a healthy life. I will outline four major things in my speech today. First, what is sleep apnea? Secondly, signs associated with sleep apnea. And thirdly, health risks that could affect someone with sleep apnea. And finally, how sleep apnea is treated. What is sleep apnea? Sleep apnea is a breathing disorder. It's a cause for interruption in your sleep and in your breathing at night. It happens when the air cannot flow in or out of your mouth or nose. In the Help Guide Study Sleep Apnea article, it says that there are three types of disorders. One is obstructive and central. Obstructive is the most common and happens when soft tissue relaxes in the back of your throat and blocks your airway. The central is less common and affects your nervous system because the brain fails to signal the muscle that controls your breathing. And complex is a combination of both obstructive and central sleep apnea. The signs of sleep apnea. Anybody who may slough luring, that doesn't mean that everybody that sloughs luring has sleep apnea. But if you wake up choking, coughing, or gasping for air, that also could be a sign of sleep apnea. And most common, it's frequent urination to the bathroom at night. And mostly for children, it's bedwetting, which is a sign of sleep apnea. Waking up tired or with a headache, heartburn at night, high blood pressure in the morning could also be a sign. And also the main sign to look for is falling asleep during any type of activity, working, reading a book, or even driving down the road. Struggling to breathe at night. According to the USA Food and Drug Administration, in their 2016 web article titled Always Tired, you may have sleep apnea. It states that breathing pauses can last from 1 second to minutes. Pauses can also happen up to 5 to 100 times at night while you are sleeping. Some types of health risks that you can see and be associated with sleep apnea are irregular sleep patterns, depression, and it also may cause learning and memory difficulties. You can also have high blood pressure and increased risk of heart and stroke. And also, if the sleep apnea is severe enough, you could also consider it being lead to death. There are a few treatments to treat sleep apnea, and some of them consist of doing a sleep study test that is done to diagnose the sleep apnea, which is where you go into a medical center or maybe even a hospital or in your home and they hook you up to a machine that would help track your sleep patterns and how many times you wake up, which is considered a sleep study, and that'll let you know if you need to be on a CPAP machine or if you need to use other kind of devices such as a mouth device to keep your mouth and your airways open in the back of your throat. You can also use a nasal spray before bed to keep your nose dry from being dry and moist. Also, they may consist that you get surgery done, which is the removal of your tonsils and your adenoids, and even line your uvula in the back of your throat, or even line your nose structure. And the least thing that you could have happen is use a CPAP machine, which is a pump that's connected to a mask that is put over top of your face, and it blows in air to keep your throat open. An article published in the medical journal Sleep states that people who use a CPAP machine have a reduction of high blood pressure 3 months after using the machine. And here I have a picture of the oxygen, the airway blockage during obstructive sleep apnea. I hope now that you are well aware of what sleep apnea is, the signs to look for, the health risks that are associated with sleep apnea, and how it is treated, that you will take into consideration this disorder. This disorder affects a lot of people. Therefore, get someone to observe you at night while you sleep, because you can't do it yourself. And get tested if any of this information I have provided to you today pertains to you or a loved one.